Both nations were neck and neck on their way to the Mun, being so close that they realized time was not the main issue. It was, however, the amount of science they could collect from the Mun, as any scrap of data was useful. After collecting science from space high above the Mun, Jebediah did a retrograde burn to get into Münar orbit. Getting into an even lower orbit will provide titanic gains and new information. After yet again changing his orbit, Jebediah collected even more important science. This would be important not because they had it, but because Aestaris didn't. Once gathering all he could, Jebediah departed for home with his immense wealth of knowledge. However, before he left, Jebediah stayed outside the capsule to document anything of note on the surface below to gain even more science. After collecting all he could, Jebediah finally set a course for home. Once both crafts were on their way home, both Aestaris and Schenetir had realized that they had essentially no control on where their capsules would land. They could only hope from here where they'd end up. Because they had landed in darkness, the Aestaris crew took a minute to realize that, by their calculations, they had landed close to Schenetir's southeastern border, thankfully in international waters instead of on another country's land. Schenetir weren't so lucky with their landing spot, however, as Jebediah landed down in ROUnits' uninhabited desert, just to the south of the Aestaris border. After reuniting with his capsule, Jebediah took recount of both his science gathered and his location, as he knew negotiations would have to happen over dinner for everything to come back home in one piece and untempered with. Landing just by the coast, however, Schenetir and ROUnits made a surprisingly easy negotiation for Jebediah's and the capsule's safe return home. Aestaris, however, was completely blocked from getting their capsule. Schenetir had created a pseudo-naval blockade, preventing the speedy return of the astronauts. With the metric haul of data returned, Schenetir could research extremely complicated topics and equipment, better warfare, and the possible future of civilian capital to be made from space. This was yet another crack in the belief that space could be used for more than just warfare. The scientists had hoped for better scientific equipment, and the engineers hoped for the ability to shove remote-controlled probes into rockets. And the research unlocked allowed for both of these possibilities to become a reality. Other research nodes had brought up interest as well. Better rocketry parts would allow for better ships. This was not meant to be, however. The first robotic craft had been built, a simple test probe, no more than just to see how it would react. Every scientific experiment R&D could think of was shoved into the Science Junior SciPack. This allowed for a massive haul of data when it ran. This allowed for the agency to get better aerodynamic parts for future missions and grander operations. Not all would be happy with the Mun race, however, as Aestaris had realized their failure. They devised a plan for a rocket more powerful than all other rockets combined, with a goal no other rocket had ever come close to achieving.